Hey everybody, and welcome to AQ's Blog and Grill. We're here with Tony Mantia.
Perfect.
We're here with Tony Mantia, who is the president and CEO of Waterloo EDC. Now, Waterloo EDC is kind of the brand name that this organization is working with now, but there's a more official name, and we're going to find out what that is in a moment. So, welcome, Tony.
Thank you for having me. Very cool to be talking to you.
Excellent, thank you. So Tony, tell us a little bit about Waterloo EDC and what is the official name of the organization?
Yeah, so our legal name is the Waterloo Region Economic Development Corporation. We were established in 2015 as the lead investment promotion agency for Waterloo Region. Our funders include the three cities of Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, and 4 townships. And our primary funder is the region of Waterloo. Waterloo EDC is our brand operating name, externally focused on our target audience, and I've been the inaugural CEO since January of 2016. So we're about 2.5 years into this enterprise.
Great, and so what is the mandate of the Waterloo EDC?
So we're the first point of contact to assist companies in locating, relocating, or expanding in Waterloo Region. What is unique about the mandate among investment promotion agencies is that we're also focused on business retention and expansion. And we work very closely with our economic development partners in the cities and townships on exactly that. Okay. And the first couple of years of our operations have underscored the importance of doing that because most of our expansions have come from existing companies. So it's really important to do that.
Speaking of that, I noticed that Toyota committed a $1.4 billion investment into the area. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and that is a key highlight for us in 2018. Mm-hmm. Good things take time, so we started working with Toyota and with the federal and provincial government back in 2016. Mayor Craig of Cambridge accompanied the Premier to Nagoya, Japan in very late 2016. Last year we spent about 5 months on advocacy related to Bill 148 to make sure that the regulatory conditions were ideal for Toyota's expansion. We had some success on that front with the help of the provincial government, and both the federal and provincial governments provided some modest but needed support to accelerate the investment. Mm-hmm. And I guess on May 2nd this year, the Prime Minister and Premier got together to announce this really important announcement. It essentially secures the plant for a decade. You've got 2 new models going in, and, and we're going to become the kind of North American Center of Excellence and lead for the hybrid electric RAV4, which is doing really well. So that's a great announcement for the region. Yeah. And we're talking about, between Cambridge and Woodstock, about 8,500 jobs, with the addition of 450 plus another 1,000 co-op positions. All that just to say that, with the Cambridge plant kind of retooled and ready for expansion, you've got probably another 30,000 people in the supply chain that are going to benefit from that. Yeah. So it's a really important announcement. Huge. Well, congratulations. Thank you.
And so, Tony, your job working with 3 mayors of the 3 cities, Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and then the mayors of the 4 townships.
Yep, and the regional chair.
And the regional chair, of course. Wow, so you're a very busy guy.
Well, you know what? I thought that that the collaborative spirit and the history that the region's had under CTT that would serve us very well, and that's really been the case. There really is a history of collaboration, and I think that apart from listening to all of the stakeholders, the change agenda was really about focusing on retention, but the focus on promoting the city region globally has endured for decades. And internationally, people don't look at Kitchener or Cambridge or Preston, Galton, Hespeler. International site selectors and corporate decision makers like to look at big city regions like San Francisco, San Jose, Tel Aviv, Haifa, and in the case of Waterloo Region, even as far east as the Toronto-Waterloo Corridor. Yeah,
Toronto-Waterloo Corridor. What kind of excitement do you expect to build there? I know there's been some hype about it. What's going to actually happen, do you think?
Well, a couple of things. If you look at the success around the next generation of manufacturing Canada, success, the grant that a number of the companies successfully got from the Supercluster Fund.
Supercluster, yeah.
If you look at our success in making the shortlist on the Amazon HQ2 bid,
Yes.
and the fact that when we travel abroad, everybody kind of, if they don't know Waterloo, they'll know Toronto,
Right.
and they'll instantly make the connection because of the, kind of the brain power.
Yep.
It is, I would call it a globally significant brain belt.
Mm-hmm.
It is a marketing construct first and foremost. There's actually, a corridor in as much as you've got this population of about 6.2 to 7 million people, globally significant academic institutions, 400,000, odd tech workers, lots of startups, over 5,000. When I'm abroad, it's the stats are less important than the companies that bring it to life. And
Okay.
so a quick, easy example was last week I was moderating a panel on artificial intelligence
Yes.
in Windsor for the APMA, Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association annual meeting. We like to talk about our AI assets. I didn't know who the companies were. You moderate the panel, you introduce the companies, and lo and behold, on the east end, you've got a company called Canvas Analytics out of Toronto, and a leader on the west end, and on Duke Street in Kitchener, is Acerta. So, for those who are skeptical about, is the corridor a real thing? Obviously, just talk to the companies, talk to the financiers. They'll bring it to life. It's absolutely real, and it's exciting to promote it.
Okay, great. Now, speaking of promotion, when people are looking at this region as perhaps a relocation or a retention or expanding their services, what are a couple of things that this area brings to the table that people see as an advantage?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question because we have to get right to the point when we're marketing abroad, and I would say three things are top of mind, and they're typically market opportunity, cost, and talent.
Okay.
But in the case of Waterloo Region, it's usually about the latter. It's usually about talent. Talent first and foremost.
Okay.
And that's because the talent in the region is, for many companies, the best and the brightest that they can find. It's also a what I would call a future-proof talent pool because of the fact that you've got at Laurier a really strong business program with co-op, and at the University of Waterloo, really strong STEM with co-op. So computer science, math, engineering, and I'm a former co-op student myself. I can tell you that experiential learning in these in really strategically important fields means that companies have access to workforce-ready talent, and that is a key differentiator. Even describing the way co-op works internationally is a bit of a challenge. But once they understand it, you can see the lights go on. And across the globe, the talent advantage is very significant. The other thing I'd say about Waterloo Region in particular is that we do have a get-it-done attitude. I was born in Toronto, went to school here, and I can tell you that people don't just talk about stuff, and maybe it's the former Governor General talks about something magic in the water and the kind of the Mennonite heritage, barn raising spirit. Right. I can tell you that other jurisdictions, other places talk about doing things. We actually do them. We do them relatively quickly.
So tell me about this Catalyst 147.
It's Catalyst 137.
137. I thought already it had expanded, but okay, 137.
I'm sure you talked to Curtis McBride at my division, so be very careful. You don't want to piss that guy off.
No, he's pretty serious.
I would say that, so in early 2016, I remember like one of the first stops I made was in this kind of facility that was a whole lot of nothing, but a lot of promise. The idea was to, create one of the largest, if not the largest, IoT makerspaces. And I remember meeting with the developer and some financing folks out of Toronto. And the same is true of kind of an early visit to lot 42, 41 are dealt. And here we are, fast forward to June of 2018, after a amazing and very successful True North event held at Lot 42.
Yep.
What a great space that's turned out to be. And of course, Catalyst 137 is up and running and actually close to fully leased. And it's wonderful to see the companies that are there.
Yeah.
So to actually see these ideas get their legs, start to walk and be in full stride, and knowing that we helped to get some anchor tenants into the Catalyst building and just to kind of watch it.
Yeah.
Really great to behold, right?
Yeah, that really has to be rewarding, not just for you as president and CEO, but for the supporters, the sponsors, the directors, if you will, of Waterloo EDC, because within 2 years, 24 months, this has all happened. And I remember talking to Curtis McBride and Mike Stork about that project, and I was kind of like, well, really?
Yeah.
But boom, they made it happen. It actually is in place and working.
Yeah, credit to them and credit to, and that seems to be the modus operandi here. We learn by doing, we plow ahead. I think the success with the Supercluster Fund is a great example. You know, I remember being part of those early meetings, and you know, if we waited until all the T's are crossed and the I's were dotted, I don't think we would have had a successful application, but the folks at Communitech and our partners at Mars plowed ahead, and it's been great to watch as a supporter. You know, full credit belongs to the individuals who really drove those projects, both at Catalyst and at Lot 42.
Yeah, great spirit that actually gets implemented.
Yeah.
And that's where the money is.
We don't just talk about stuff in Waterloo Region. We get it done.
Yeah.
And I think whether it's the co-op education system, which started with 61 years ago with some companies talking to the University of Waterloo saying, hey, we need workforce to ensure that our manufacturing assets can thrive and prosper, and look where we are today in 2018.
Very good. Now, of course, the other educational anchor in this area is Conestoga College.
Yep.
And what they've done there, because I was in high school when Conestoga opened here in town, and they have progressed, and I put a lot of this to the leadership of John Tibbetts, but of course it's a lot of other folks, where they've made themselves a valuable component. They haven't just said, well, we're community college, we're over here. No, they have come in, and I think they supply a tremendous amount of this talent and expertise now into the system.
They absolutely do. Together with Laurier and the University of Waterloo, you're talking about 72,000 students.
Yeah.
You're talking, and back to Conestoga, largest apprenticeship program in the country. They do customized training programs for a range of industries, IT, healthcare, manufacturing.
Yeah.
What a great partner to have, for companies that need, trained, workforce-ready talent, right? And so, really important.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great example of how they've helped implement. They've given us the talent that could take it from theory and, boardrooms into the reality of the show. So, what does success look like, Tony, for Waterloo EDC 5 years from now? When you look back and say, wow, that was wonderful, what made it wonderful?
I'd say that there are two things. From a Canada or Canadian perspective, getting the recognition of other IPAs. I'm not talking about India Pale Ales. I'm talking about investment promotion agencies. Yeah,
I didn't get that part. Okay, okay.
If Toronto Global or Invest Ottawa or Calgary Economic Development Corporation or Edmonton, benefits from our governance practices, our city region approach to marketing.
Right.
Then that kind of validation would be, it's already been validated, and that's a beautiful thing. But 5 years from now, apart from being, one of the strongest, most vibrant, brain belts in the world, it would be great if we were also recognized, and I think that's a challenge for the organization and our board. To be recognized as one of the top IPAs in the world. And that's really, to have that kind of global recognition is something that we're going to continue to strive for.
Yeah. I think you're going to make it. I think as a member of this community, I look upon the work that you guys are doing and thinking, wow, this is exactly the type of evangelism that we need out there on the global scene, where you guys are so committed and good at what you're doing. So thank you, and congratulations, Tony.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Great to see you. And great for you guys to see us. So keep tuning in to AQ's Blog and Grill. You can subscribe right along here, and we look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye for now.
AQ's Blog and Grill.